Welcome to today's webinar, Unlock Efficiency, Demystifying Adobe Document Services API. My name is Tomasz Pasierb and I'm a solution consultant at Adobe and I specialize in Adobe Document Cloud. So let me outline what we will cover today. So first, getting started with APIs. I will break down the basics for those unfamiliar with the terms like API and process automation. And can you use API without extensive IT knowledge or a team of programming experts? Then we'll look at the practical aspects, explore where to begin and essential tools to consider. We'll look at the real-world examples of automated processes, discussing the benefits of embracing digital and automated solutions. The need for API, this is the next subject, so I will address the crucial question of whether you can afford not to use APIs for process automation. I will discuss the downsides of maintaining the status quo of not doing anything. Then I will look at the return on investment. So before diving into the details, understand the potential return on investment. APIs obviously can streamline processes, reduce work, and contribute to overall cost saving, although you need to be aware that the impact of the APIs vary from case to case. Examples from Adobe, obviously we use APIs in Adobe, so towards the end I will showcase automated workflow implemented at Adobe. I will even demonstrate a workflow I built in just an hour by myself, just to show you how easy it is to start leveraging tools and environment you might have already access to. We'll also have the guest speaker, so my colleague from the consulting team will join and tell you a little bit about the automation that we implemented in Adobe to streamline onboarding process. Whilst we are on this webinar, to answer your questions, please note that this webinar is pre-recorded to ensure quality. We have some great content prepared for the next 45-50 minutes, but before we get started, I would like to share a few housekeeping items. So for the best viewing experience, we encourage using a high-speed and stable internet connection and closing any programs or in browser sessions running in the background, anything that can cause any issues. Obviously, some networks can cause slides advance to slower. So if you are on the VPN, please switch off the VPN. If you think that the slides are behind, you can always refresh the page by hitting F5. You can also do that with the Control press down. So if you press Control and F5, your browser will bypass the cache and it will allow you to catch up with the content. This session is being recorded and will be available after the webinar concludes, which you can access using exactly the same link that you used to access today's session as well. And you will also be able to access and download the slides that I use in this presentation and any other resources that we decide to share with you as well. So you can just go to the resources after this webinar concludes and download everything from there. Also, we encourage you to ask questions throughout the webinar, and we have planned time to field questions at the end of this presentation. To submit your question, just simply type them in the Q&A box on the sides of your presentation, and we will try to answer as many as possible during the webinar. And obviously, if there's anything left, as I have already said, at the end we will have the dedicated time to answer those remaining questions, if any, obviously. Please also complete the survey shown on the screen. So this feedback is invaluable to delivering quality webinars on topics you would like to see in the future. Finally, you can find additional answers to some common technical questions, issues in the help at the bottom of your screen. So buckle up, and as we explore the world of Adobe Document Services API and its potential to transfer your work processes, let's get started. So first of all, why Adobe Guy is talking about automation and API. So there are several reasons for that. So first of all, nowadays, most of the documents are in digital form or will end up as a digital document. So if you receive something by post in paper form, and if it is an important document, most probably you will scan it and save it as a digital copy in your internal repository. And most of the business documents that are imported are in PDF format. We are in Adobe, we are who invented the PDF format back in 1993 until we released that as an open standard in 2008. And since that, PDF became #1 business format. Last year, only over 400 billion PDFs were opened in Adobe products, only in Adobe products, and there are several billions more out there. Some of your enterprise most critical business data is probably in the PDF document format, in a format that we, Adobe, invented. We are not automation software company, so I want to make that clear, but we do provide crucial ingredients you need to build your own integration or automation. We allow to create and manipulate documents using application programming interfaces, and obviously I will explain what API is later, just bear with me for that. As you see on the information provided here on this slide, 400 billions of PDFs were opened in Adobe products in 2023. The most important documents in your organization are in our format, in PDF format. 40% of documents received in Outlook are PDFs, and literally trillions of PDFs are on the internet, in emails, cloud, or maybe embedded somewhere on the websites. And despite most of the documents being at least at some point of their life in digital form, whether this is a PDF format or not, document processes and workflows still haven't changed in decades, and this obviously has a wide-ranging impact. The data that you can see on that slide here was provided by World Data, and they ran a survey to find out that most of the managers and business leaders, 78 to be precise, they say that they could save at least 3 hours a day by automating tasks. 20% of lost revenue. So if something goes wrong, things like a mistake in a document not generated on time, or maybe signed on time, all that result in lost revenue. Security is a big concern, obviously, as well. Over 90% of all public-facing documents are editable, increasing security risk. It happens all the time. I'm sure that if you pick a random well-known organization right now, if you Google a financial report, you'll be able to download this document, edit this document, make changes, and republish it. So just imagine what would happen if someone did it 5 minutes after it was published, repost someone really financial report with fake information in it, somewhere on the social media maybe, and this is possible only because someone allowed everyone to edit that before it was posted online. And security is not about restricting editing, printing. It's also about removing sensitive information from the documents. And we have accessibility. So do you know that from the next year, from 2025, all the documents that you produce will have to be accessible. If you won't comply, you obviously are risking expensive lawsuit. Obviously, in all of those cases, Adobe can help. Adobe's API can help making documents more accessible, reducing or removing the need for manual remediation. You can use API to secure documents, all your documents in no time. You can automate those tasks, but obviously more about that a bit later. The title of this webinar is about demystifying API, and that's what I want to concentrate on right now. So since you have joined this webinar, I assume that many of you have heard about APIs, and also since you joined, I believe that you want to know what that thing called API, Application Programming Interface, is about. So let me explain it to you so we can start understanding how this can be used in your organization, enabling you to work more efficiently and error-free. So when people ask me what API is, I like using an analogy with a restaurant. So imagine that you are in the restaurant, you take the menu and you find in there what you fancy, what you want to eat. Now, how are you gonna place this order, and who is going to bring this dish back to you once it is cooked in the kitchen? So obviously, since you are in the restaurant, it will be a waiter, and the waiter in this little story is an equivalent of an API. API, aka waiter, takes your order or order from your program or system that you use and bring you the results. So in order to get a lunch, you don't need to know how to cook. You can call someone who will take the order, and it will deliver the ready meal once it is ready. Similar to the real life in digital world, if your application you work with requires something that can be only delivered by other software or a system, then it utilizes an API to accomplish that. So for example, imagine that you have a website with a sales order that someone needs to complete online. When this form is filled out and the submit button is pressed, you want this sales order to be generated as a PDF document, maybe automatically stored as a copy in your internal repository. Say if the value is higher than a specific threshold, perhaps it should be sent for an approval before being dispatched to the warehouse for a fulfillment. Your website collects the data and then instruct the relevant API service to handle the remaining task for you, providing you with the results. Obviously, there is no one solution that fits all. So we all use different software. So some of you might use Google Drive or maybe Google Docs, while others have in-house built web-based platform or maybe some kind of CRM, maybe document management system. Some of you prefer work exclusively in the Microsoft environment, maybe in SharePoint, while others might not have any specific system in place yet. They just have an idea of how the document flow should be structured like. And the good thing is that they all can use APIs to automate the document workflows. Now, with a high-level understanding of what an API is, which is essentially a digital connector to a service that you can use to automate your processes, the natural question arises, why would you consider using it? And the straightforward answer is that API enhances efficiency, it prevents error, expedite works, and obviously it ensures a significant return on investment. So to illustrate that, just have a look at this slide. Microsoft utilized the document generation API to create HR onboarding documents very quickly. They reduce templates by 50% and they save countless hours. From my experience, I know that for that use case for onboarding, your process becomes several percent faster, at least, because in fact, this is what we do in Adobe as well, where we save days by automating onboarding process, but more about Adobe's use case later. Also, our Adobe sales team leverage document generation and accessibility API. We do that to generate accessible agreements. We import the data from the CRM and also the data from the other database, and all this data together is used to generate legal documents. Lastly, our financial services firm, Mitsubishi, so they are known not only for making cars, they employ the Extract API to automatically assess target investments for ESG initiatives. So they extract their content using the Extract API, which utilize Adobe Artificial Intelligence for that purpose. So these three real-world examples showcase the tangible benefits of the API integration. So we have some real-life examples, including Microsoft, Adobe, Mitsubishi, but your use case might obviously differ. If you are serious about digitization, saving time, and cutting costs, just find process for automation using APIs. Just find a candidate. So look for repetitive rule-based tasks that are prone to human error. Examples include maybe manually extracting information from invoices and applying a password protection to sensitive documents. We have a high volume of transactions, usually processes that involve a high volume of transactions or data entry. So for instance, manually inputting and reconciling large volumes of financial transactions, or imagine that you have updated terms and conditions and every single customer of yours or maybe every single employee needs to read, confirm, and sign updated documents. With API, you can take a template of terms and conditions. You can automatically add the name, surname of a signer. You can generate document and automatically send for electronic signature by email maybe. And once this document is signed, you can automatically store it in your internal repository. So that process of generating hundreds of customized, personalized documents can be one-click transaction. We have document-centric workflows, things like processing sales order or onboarding process. Once the part of the flow is completed, you can automatically proceed with the next action by maybe generating another set of documents that are needed to complete this workflow. Next, we have error-prone tasks. So if there's a person who manually moves the data from one place to another, and by creating documents by typing or copying the data from, say, a spreadsheet or a database, the odds are that sooner or later he or she will make a mistake. And that's a risk of human error. And it can be eliminated if you automate this process using APIs. We have cost-intensive processes. So once again, invoice processing. That's a lot of time needed here. So automate the generation, automate approval and archiving of invoices using API, obviously to reduce the manual effort and minimize the operational cost associated with billing, because these are invoices we are talking about. Obviously, your candidate for automation can be all of those at once or just one thing. This is actually what we want to see, you having the fully digitized and automated workflow from A to Z. Like later, I will show you a working example of digitized and automated process. Just bear with me. But before that, let's have a look at the questions commonly asked by those who start their journey with digitization and automation of documents processing. So let's move to another slide. So let's start with the first question. Can I utilize APIs without requiring extensive IT knowledge? So, well, the answer is depends. So it really depends on what tools you plan to use. In fact, many powerful automations have been built by individuals with no IT background whatsoever. So for instance, with tools such as Power Automate from Microsoft, someone with no technical expertise can simply utilize the platform's quite intuitive features to create quite seamless process. In fact, this is something that I will show you later. So when we get to the demonstration part, so this is where I will demonstrate how to automate a process that, when not automated, takes days or sometimes weeks. An automated flow that uses Adobe APIs, obviously. What's important, it took me about 1 hour to build that flow. Next question, how quickly can my team adapt to the new API-driven processes? So again, it depends. If you are talking about a basic flow, for instance, an automated process where a document uploaded to the folder is then automatically secured with a password, or maybe optimized for the web browsing, made accessible, or if a document is automatically generated using data from a database, then you need a very little time to get started. I'm talking about maybe 1 hour or couple of hours. Obviously, it all depends on what tools you have access to. What tools you have access to besides API, Adobe API services. Next question, can I afford not to use APIs for process automation? So that's an open question. Opting to not to use APIs for process automation could potentially result in missed opportunities for efficiency, for productivity, for streamline workflows. So think about your current workflows that are not digitized or maybe partially digitized. Consider the time needed to complete a simple task like the preparation of the sales agreement, maybe how it is correctly prepared, who copies and pastes the data into the document template, what is the impact of the human error, and how much does it cost you to print it out, send it by post, and then have someone to archive it, how it is signed, how it is approved. So things like that. So all these steps can be automated. You can remove the risk of human error, and you can reduce the time needed for this workflow to be completed, often from days to minutes. The return on investment if you use API is huge. Now look at one of your processes, maybe process that takes days instead of hours or minutes. So, again, the question is, can you afford not to take the advantage of the APIs, to take the advantage of the technology that allows you to streamline those processes and reduce the time needed to complete those workflows from days, often to minutes. Next question. Where do I start and what essential tools I should consider? So that webinar is not intended for IT professionals. So it should not be your concern how this is going to work under the bonnet. So you shouldn't be thinking about that. But obviously, to start, your IT representative will need to get an access to Adobe Document API services. So you can get yourself a free developer account for testing, or you can contact Adobe sales representative to get a full unthrottled account with more API transactions. It would be good to have a tool that allows you to orchestrate API calls, such as RPA software or Power Automate. It might be that you are using already Microsoft 365, you have access to that tool. And Power Automate is a part of Office 365 suite. Alternatively, if anyone in your IT department has a basic software developer knowledge, you can use their programming skills to build a script that sends out, orchestrates API calls. However, the best starting point would be to contact Adobe. Tell us a little bit about your use case, the process, the workflow that you want to automate, and we will prepare a demonstration for you based on your use case. Explain to you what exactly is needed for you to get started. In some of the cases, we can actually, hand you ready built process so we can use it straight away. We have also the professional services that can get you started. After identifying processes for automation, consider using services beyond document generation. Along with the Sign API, this solution allows you to effortlessly create seamless documents experiences throughout the document lifecycle. So we have 4 key solutions here. So we have a document generation API, we have document intelligence API, we have document accessibility and document authenticity APIs. So document generation allows you to generate custom documents such as agreements, contracts, all at scale, using easy to create Microsoft Word templates and by merging the data from any applications that you use, or maybe from the database that you use. Things like a custom SharePoint list, the real database, or maybe CSV document or Excel document. We have document intelligence using PDF extract API. So here API helps unlock critical business data from PDF by extracting all the PDF content, including the structure, using artificial intelligence. So this data can be used for a variety of the downstream processes after it's been extracted from this document. Third, document accessibility that allows you to automatically tag PDFs for accessibility at scale. So this reduces the time and effort required to get compliant with accessibility laws. And lastly, document authenticity that helps to ensure the authenticity of the content of the PDF, their identity, using the electronic seal. So while we mentioned just here electronic seal API here, we have also several other APIs that help support security solutions. As an example, you can also restrict the permissions on the PDF. You can decide whether, for instance, printing or editing is allowed or not. So now, before I move to my short demonstration of automated process, here at Adobe, we use our APIs to make things run smoother as well. Take our onboarding process, for example. Our HR team wanted to speed it up, so they teamed out with our solution consultant a few months ago to automate the whole thing. Now it is a way faster process with less chances of mistakes, giving our new hires a hassle-free experience. So let's hear more from Nata Miljevic, who came up with that idea of automating this process. She helped to develop this solution when she was still in HR, and now she's a solution consultant. So over to you, Nata.
Thank you, Tomasz, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you for inviting me to be part of this webinar. So as mentioned, my name is Nata Miljevic, and I work in the same team as Tomasz as a Document Cloud Solutions Consultant. So previous to my position, I worked in HR for around 6 years, of which 2 were at Adobe. I've made this leap into solutions consulting after learning about our Document Cloud solutions and having the opportunity to be directly involved in redefining our internal HR workflows. So I was extremely interested in automation and learning about different tools such as our Document Cloud APIs that we could leverage to digitize our processes. There was actually one workflow in particular that I thought did not work very well, and that was sending our onboarding communication to our new hires. It was one of those tasks that I was really not looking forward to as a talent coordinator at the time, and where I saw huge opportunity for change. It also went hand in hand with our business strategy to create exceptional, personalized, and fully digital employee and customer experiences. So specifically to the onboarding process, we had a goal to reduce the time spent on manual tasks for our new hires, as well as our talent coordinators that were sending out these packs. We also wanted to increase visibility into document status throughout the onboarding process. So meaning when a document's been received, when it was reviewed, etc. So to make sure that the right person has actually received that document. And also we wanted to reduce environmental impact by eliminating print and paper. And also, of course, to meet all HR processing deadlines, from payroll deadlines to preparing employee security badges and ordering equipment to be ready for their first day. So what did that journey look like for us? So on the slide deck, you can see the 7 sort of key steps on that journey. So from discovery to development, with the first step really was sharing that important feedback to really understand the process gaps that we faced. So things like filling out a welcome pack that was very manual by our new hires. They were all sent by email. They were very archaic in terms of the look and feel, with loads of forms attached. We had poor formatting, and they were not personalized. There was also a lot of room for error. So the whole process was also very time consuming, meaning that we had to go back and forth with our candidates to capture the right data as part of the process. We also calculated around 30 hours a month that were being spent by each talent coordinator simply processing new hire documents. And also around 40% of our new hires, if not a little bit more, needing chasing of their documents. And it was taking roughly around 7 days to complete all the forms, with some forms even taking longer than that in terms of weeks. Finally, it also didn't provide this modern digital experience that we knew that we could offer. So being very fortunate to work at Adobe and to be able to immediately leverage our Document Cloud APIs, we had the right tools for this automated document creation, also for data extraction and signature approvals or data validation to really create the seamless digital solution. So after we've identified the project team and started building out the solution, which Tomasz will show you in just a couple of minutes' time, I believe it's a limited version of what we actually use today at Adobe. But we basically saw benefits immediately after implementation. So the new onboarding communication now really does reflect our creative and innovative workplace. And it includes a creative bespoke pack, which we've tailored towards the region-specific and employee-specific requirements. We've also further strengthened our company's brand recognition by using custom email templates to revamp the standard HTML templates. So we've sort of revisualized and rebuilt our email communication. And we did things such as customize the page layout, so added different color palettes and typography and inserted images and links to make it really visually appealing. The onboarding pack also consists now of pre-built templates, so we're not adding these on the go, which can be very easily filled out by new hires without any need of using any additional hardware or software. So forms request information such as banking details, IT equipment, maybe ID passes as well. They're all processed in one single transaction. So the cloud solution really now allows us or our employees to sign their documents from anywhere using their desktop, their phone, or tablet. The system also memorizes progress automatically as employees type and allows our new hires to continue at any time right where they left off. Another great functionality that we've leveraged is our Acrobat Sign APIs for data validation. So the system is smart enough to detect correct email formats, postcodes, and recognizes custom data patterns. So previously, we've faced challenges where new hires were adding international banking information. So for all my friends in HR, you do know how frustrating that can be when you need region-specific banking information. So we have used the system to our advantage to detect things like correct IBAN, SWIFT codes, and eliminate any mistakes to improve our compliance. And finally, just a couple of metrics here to round up. So the process is now completely paperless and promotes the protection of our environment. So we have saved around 22,000 pounds of greenhouse gases by eliminating printing, which is equivalent to driving a car for 742 days, just a lot. We have also reduced the processing time needed for talent coordinators to process documents with an 80% time reduction rate, and also reduced our new hire document processing time by 8 days. This is now 2 days average, but most of the documents are completed within hours, sometimes even a couple of minutes. We also saved 6.5 hours per employee per month within talent operations time, chasing and correcting new hire documents. There is also 400% faster turnaround time for onboarding documents, and 96% of documents are returned without any errors. And this is specifically important for payroll documents, which then can be processed in a timely manner. So in conclusion, so this fully digital onboarding process that we've leveraged through our Document Cloud APIs has really helped us become more efficient, better at security, and also created the fully automated end-to-end personalized workflow. So with that, I will pass you over to Tomasz, who will run you through a demo of this solution. Thank you, Tomasz.
Thank you, Nata. Thank you for joining and telling us your story. So now it is time for a short demonstration. The automated flow we use in Adobe is quite sophisticated and consisting of multiple stages. So while we often talk about it, demonstrating it can be quite challenging, mainly because we have limited time on the demonstration or the webinar like this one. So, however, to illustrate how straightforward it is to begin automating processes, I've created a simplified version of onboarding process to showcase. So in my instance, I've built it in a Windows environment. It is, something that most of us have access to, but please keep in mind, it does not have to be Windows. What I'm about to show you is just an example. So let me switch screens and I will share my screen with you and I will show the automated flow that I have prepared for you today. So here you can see my screen. So this is the SharePoint web page. So this is what I decided to use in order to present how you can automate the task. So I have the Windows environment, and in the background under the bonnet, I've got the APIs that do the work for me. So we quite often use the onboarding process as a automation example. This is because most of us at some point of our life went through the process of the recruitment. So we know how this process should look like. So in this particular case, I quite simplified that. So I assume that this process looks, follows those steps. First, someone goes on the internet, search for the job, click on apply, provide all the details and submit the application. Wait for someone to get back to him, go through the recruitment process, and when this person is successful, obviously at this point, someone from the interviewing panel let the HR know that this person was successful. Please proceed with the preparation of the contract of employment. Obviously, the contract of employment is just one step. Most probably after that, we will need to send another set of the documents, maybe a form where the new hire can apply for the mobile phone, new laptop, a new chair, or maybe we can send a batch request, a form where this person needs to provide all the information and attach the passport photo so we can generate a batch. So all this takes time. And here, this is the automated flow that I built especially for that webinar. So once again, let's assume that my name is Jane. I'm looking for a job. I went on the internet. I went to the LinkedIn. I managed to find the job of a consultant that I'm interested in. I went to the job application. Here, I click on apply and it asks me to provide all my details. So this is what I'm going to do right now to start this process. I'm going to type my name. Once again, my name is today Jane. Surname is Doe. My date of birth is, let me just select some random date in here, June 13, and I'm applying for a position of consultant. I'm going to provide my email address, so I'm going to type in here the email address to which I have access to, so I can show you how Jane will be signing this agreement. So I'm going to type Jane Doe. I need to make sure that this is the right email address, because obviously I will need to sign it. gmail.com, and my phone number, I'm going to just type some random numbers. My address as well. So just to keep it simple, obviously, there are only 7 fields in that form. In real life example, in a real life scenario, obviously there would be much more. Obviously, the Jane will need to provide the details such as experience and so on. So I'm going to just type some random address in here. And click on submit. So Jane has applied for this job. She waits a couple of days and someone contacts her and invite her for interview. She went through multiple stages of interview and finally she's successful. And at this point, someone from the interviewing team notified the HR that Jane has been successful and they can proceed with the preparation of the contract of employment. Obviously, they're going to pass some extra information to HR, things such as the salary that Jane negotiated, a probation period, and obviously the starting date. So someone from HR will need to find the information that was submitted in that form and also update it with the salary, probation period, and so on. So I'm back into the role of the HR representative. I'm go to the list. So this is where that data from that form is automatically uploaded. So when Jane click on submit, even before she was invited for the interview, we extracted all this data from there and just populated that custom list in the SharePoint. So we've got all the data that is required to proceed with the contract of employment, minus the salary and starting date and the probation period. So I know that Jane has negotiated salary of 70,000. We want to just type that in here. And the starting date is, let's say, 1st of March, 2024. And the probation period is 6 months. So I've got all the data that is needed to prepare this contract. So now, traditionally, if there was no automation, I would find the template of this document and manually transfer this data one by one to the corresponding field in the document, and then send it out by post for a signature. However, since this is fully digitized flow, I don't need to do that. All I need to do is just go to automate or right click on this record of the customer, of the applicant, go to automate and select the automated flow. So when I click on that, it's going to pull out this automated flow and ask me to run it. So I'm going to just click on run flow. And basically, this is all that is required from the HR in order to start this process. So from that point until the end of the onboarding, everything will happen automatically. So what is happening right now, all this data from that custom list is taken and it is sent to the document cloud using APIs. We also send a template of the document. In this case, this is a contract of employment with blank fields. Document cloud services are notified by the API about what to do with this. Document cloud services will merge all that data with the corresponding fields in the document, generate the PDF document, and automatically upload it back to the SharePoint. And as soon as we have this generated document in the SharePoint, this will be taken and sent out for the approval, to someone more senior in the HR department, just for someone to check over whether all the details are correct, and this person will be asked to approve it. And when it is approved, it's going to be automatically sent to Jane. So actually, if I go to my mailbox right now, I should be able to see approval request that was automatically sent to me. So I'm someone more senior in HR right now, and I'm going to be opening this email in order to see what is inside. So obviously we have the congratulations, we have the email body with automatically added name and surname. And now in order to check this document and approve this document, I just need to click on review and approve. When I do so, I expect to see completed document in here. So I use the red font actually to show you that this data has been transferred to the contract of employment. So I can see that the Jane Doe has been put to the right place. I have the date of birth, I have the address, I have the starting date, I have the position, salary, and so on. So all that data from that list has been transferred to the template, and we generated automatically the PDF document out of it. So once again, let me scroll all the way down. I can see that the probation period is 6 months. So all I need to do in order to approve it, I just need to click on the signature field, and I will sign it in behalf of Contoso. So this is the organization that offer Jane a job. So I'm going to click on approve, and now this document is automatically sent to Jane for a signature. The good thing is that if I go back to the custom list here, if I refresh that, I'm going to actually be able to see that the status of this document is out of for signature. So I don't need to go anywhere to check what is happening with this document, because here in that custom list, in the source from which I initiate that workflow, I can see that this document is awaiting Jane signature. So I'm going to quickly log in as a Jane mailbox. I can see that she has received an email that was automatically generated. Congratulations on successful interview. The same email that was just approved a second ago by someone from HR, and I'm going to click on the review and sign. So if I scroll all the way down, obviously I'm going to see all my details. So I'm going to check whether everything is correct. I expect to see a signature of someone from Contoso in here already, and it is in here. You can see the date when it was signed. So by the way, you can see when I recorded that demonstration. And now as a Jane, I'm going to just click on the signature field in order to sign it. Obviously, it's going to automatically populate the signature field because I have signed some documents from that browser previously. But if it was first time, then Jane would see those 4 options to sign this agreement. So she can either type her signature, she can draw the signature using the mouse, she can also upload the image, which is usually the real scan of the real signature, or she can send to herself a text message with a link to this document. When she clicks on send, she will get the text message asking her to click on this link, turn the font sideways, sign this document with the finger on the touch screen, click on OK, and when she does this, a signature will appear in this place. So she will need to go back to the laptop and click on apply in here. So now I'm going to click on sign. I will see the confirmation with the options to download a copy of this agreement, and also within a few seconds I will get the copy of this agreement sent to myself as well. So that's the signing of the agreement done, but that's not the end of the onboarding process. Like you see, Jane automatically received another email. So as soon as she signed, the flow detected that, and it used the APIs to generate another email and asked her to provide a photo so we can prepare a badge, an access badge to the office. So when I open this email, I will see the set of the instructions. Please provide a photograph, clear and high resolution in color, a recent image, neutral background, front view of your face with a natural expression. To complete this step, please reply to this email with your photograph attached. So since Jane is very eager to start her new role, she will just click on a reply, attach the passport photo, and click on send. So now as soon as we receive that photograph, we will use the API to send it to Document Cloud Services along with the template of the batch. We're using this service will automatically generate that batch. Once this batch is generated, it's going to be stored in the SharePoint. Also, at the same time, we will set the confirmation email to the Jane, informing her where she can pick up this batch. We'll also attach the copy of that batch for Jane, so she will know how this batch will look like. Before I show you the batch itself, let's actually go back to the custom list. Like you see, the status has changed to the sign, so I know that Jane has already signed that document. And if I want to find it, I just need to double click here, and I'm going to be able to find that sign agreement in here. So there is no need for me to go elsewhere to search for this contract of employment. There's no need for someone to archive it and save it in the appropriate place. Everything happens automatically. So here we have that sign agreement with 2 signatures. And also we have the audit report that is generated for every single transactions. Both of those documents are obviously encrypted and tamper-proof, and the audit report is actually the document that makes that transaction legally binding, because in this document we can see the full history of the document. We can see who generated this document, at what time, from what IP address, from what mailbox this document was viewed and open. So, we can prove that only someone with access to that mailbox clicked on that link. We can see that it was finally signed and the agreement is completed. So everything is one place. There is no need to go elsewhere. If we started this flow from that place, we decide where the signed agreement is gonna end up. So in this case, I just attach that to the custom list in here. So now if I go back to the Jane mailbox, I can see that she received an email with the information that her batch is ready. So we have here email saying that this batch is ready for collection from the reception on your next visit to the office. And also here is the generated batch that was generated automatically by the API services. So we use that picture that Jane uploaded. We use the name and surname from the custom list, and department is sales. This is the information that was actually stored elsewhere, but it's not actually important for that presentation. So everything is automated. There is no need for printing. There is no need for sending this document for using post. No need for buying postage, paying for courier. We can check the status of this document at any time by going to your flow and checking whether it's been sent for signature. You don't need to pay anyone to scan the signed document and store it in your internal repository, because this document is digital from the start to end, and it is automatically stored in the chosen location as well. So once again, this is the flow that usually takes at least a week, in most of the cases about 2. And here I managed to get all the documents signed and stored in the right place within a few minutes. So actually, if we deduct my talking from that, it was, I believe, about 3 to 5 minutes to get everything completed and safely stored in an encrypted format in your internal repository. So that's it about the demonstration. Let me go back to my slides. So now I have a couple of more things to say before we wrap up. So when constructing a flow, it is common to follow the steps that I'm about to outline. It is not necessary to adhere to all of them, and the order obviously can vary. So in certain situations, you might only include 1, 2, or more steps than those mentioned in here. So this is just a typical sequence. So let's briefly go through each of those steps. So in most of the cases, we start with create step. So generate a document from a template, or maybe make document accessible, and tables, or maybe add images as well. We send the document for approval or signature, because we have sign API from that. So the signer can sign document on any device that is connected to the internet. We verify identity of the signer, and obviously the entire process is fully compliant with European standards and secured from A to Z. We have optimized steps, so document can be compressed to make sure it takes less storage. It can be optimized for internet, for web, and made accessible to make sure that people with disabilities can consume them as well. A secure step, protect our data. We can secure documents with a password. We can set permission on documents. We can decide if it can be printed, edited, and by who. And we can seal documents with digital certificate as well to make sure that those documents are tamper-proof. Then we have the transfer step. So your document can be a scan, picture basically. So you can use API to recognize the text and make those documents editable, or maybe to extract the data using Extract API. You can export your document to different formats using API, to formats such as Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and some others as well. Finally, we have a publish step. So we can embed the document on a web. You can allow users to edit this document online and connect this document to analytics platform for detailed information. In your automation, you can choose to go through all of those steps or just once. So the order it is entirely up to you. Your flow can be very complicated, or it may be as simple as automating, a document uploaded to a folder. You may be compressing automatically. How easy or how complex you want it is entirely up to you. In this webinar, we explore the transformative impact of APIs within the Adobe Document Cloud ecosystem. API serves as a vital tool unlocking the full potential of Adobe Document Cloud services. By leveraging APIs, you can boost efficiency, you can reduce errors, you can speed up processes and save both cost and time. The true power lies in the extensive automotive possibilities, providing numerous opportunities for efficiency improvements across various tasks. This wasn't a technical deep dive, but a session designed to inspire smarter work practices using Adobe Document Cloud as a complete digital ecosystem. It all goes beyond just adopting APIs. It offers comprehensive solution for optimizing workflows, ensuring productivity, and enhancing reliability. Very important is that getting started is very easy, requiring minimal effort on your part. The webinar was aimed not only to emphasize the capabilities of APIs, but also to underscore the broader advantages of embracing the entire Adobe Document Cloud ecosystem. So think about your workflows, including elements such as onboarding processes, invoice generation, automatic archiving, optimization, or combination of all of those processes. Just maybe let your imagination roll and reach out to us. Share your use case and request a free demonstration tailored to your needs. If it intrigues you, whether you request a demo based on your use case or not, go back to your IT, activate your free developer account, and test it. It is entirely free with no commitment required. Just explore, and I'm confident that you will discover its usefulness and benefits to your organization. That concludes what I've prepared for today. So I hope that you had numerous questions typed in the Q&A section and we address them properly. Now let's transition to live view to check if there are any remaining questions. Thank you once again for staying with us until this moment, and I will see you in a few seconds.